Welcome, welcome, welcome to Transcendental Brain Training Foundations. I am your host for this series, Divya Darling. This is my most favorite thing in the world to talk about, Transcendental Brain Training. This modality that I have been downloading and refining, distilling, developing over the past decade now. And this module is intended to outline the foundations. Now, I think of foundations much like the foundation of a house, right? The basement. You got to have a solid foundation before you can build anything upon it. And that's what this is all about. I want us to be on the same page when I'm using certain words. You know what I mean when I say those words. And there's a couple disclaimers in that. One, firstly, this is my very first time teaching this level of content publicly available. It felt true and aligned to put this module freely available on YouTube, which means anyone can watch and consume it. And that's wonderful. I absolutely am delighted by that idea. And information on its own does not yield transformation. When it's ingested, when it's imbibed, then there's a different story, right? So we have to integrate the information before we can have some transformation. And these modules, they're intended to be energetically activating so that when you hear it, it can land in the heart. The transformation can already start to take place. And because of that, there's a degree of self-responsibility required. So I have to say this up front. It is my most heartfelt intention to create a super safe space every time I'm teaching. And yet there's only so much I can do when I'm here and you're on the other end of the screen. So I want to invite you and encourage you to ask questions if they arise in you. If you have an inquiry in you, please share it in the comments. I promise you every single thing that you have to share, there's some value in it if you're looking to make connections in yourself. So I want to encourage you to feel safe to ask any questions that might arise in you, and trust that all feedback and comments is valuable and welcome, right? So this is, for me, my first time in delivering in this way without direct student feedback. And so I know that there will be places I need to refine. So I ask for your graciousness. I ask for your kindness in understanding that there's so much I know that I don't know others don't know yet. So if you could please be gentle with me if I've left out a key piece of information, something that it doesn't click for you. Sometimes what can happen when we feel confused, what can happen is we can either it can trigger us into either feeling ashamed of our own misunderstanding, or like believing the story that we're somehow inadequate because we don't understand something, or blaming the other person for not communicating clearly. So either we feel ashamed or we blame them. And I'm going to invite you to not do either of those, and instead just observe if confusion arises, and know that we're here to collaborate, to come to a place of rich understanding. I really want you to understand on a deep level this content. Now, understanding, though, doesn't necessarily mean it will always make cognitive sense. You know how sometimes there's this experience where it's like, it just feels true. I just know it. And there aren't necessarily words to explain how or why, you might find much of this content is like that, where you'll have the experience of, yeah, man, I really get that. And maybe there aren't words to explain how or why. So there's a degree of self-responsibility in paying attention and in mindfully monitoring what arises in you as I share this content. And I'm asking for your graciousness in understanding that this is pioneering territory. So what I mean when I say that is sometimes new things are coming through, right? So even though I have an awareness of what this content is that's been there up until now, I'm still constantly receiving and refining. It's not complete. This is an emerging technology, which means new languages coming through. This is a new way of being and operating. And, in one sense, right? Nothing is actually new, but we'll get to that in a future video. But in one sense, absolutely. So I ask you to have an open mind and an open heart as you proceed through the rest of these lessons in this module. I will explain things as clearly as I can, and I encourage you to ask questions. There will be repetition. Why? Because in a teaching sense, saying something once is as good as not saying it at all, right? So I will do my best not to use any jargon and to explain things as concisely and succinctly as I possibly can, but do expect repetition and know that that's because every time we repeat something, basically what's happening, I'm a bit of a neuro nerd. I have a neuron on my wrist. What we're doing every time we run that neural network, we're remyelinating that. Myelin is you can think of it like what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, if you're going down a highway, that surface, you can go a lot faster down a highway than you can down a gravel road, right? You can't go as quickly down a gravel road. So every single time there's some degree of repetition, we are putting down a layer of bitumen, to go down a highway faster. And so we're kind of unlearning programs and relearning or opening to more expansive ones, right? That's the purpose of this. The purpose of this whole modality is for freedom in every sense of the word, in every sense of the word, so that you can feel free in your body, free emotionally, free mentally. Freedom is what we're here for, and it's what's here now. And so we'll get to that in the coming videos. So consent. If I was teaching and you're in the same space, we would talk about informed consent. We would talk about how you can show up in a way to make this as potent and valuable for you. So part of that is to bring full presence, to give it your full attention. Understand your intention, because that's really powerful. Why are you here? I'm gonna invite you to pause and reflect. Consider, why are you watching this video? What has you turn up to this series? The clearer you can be, the more honest you can be with your intention. And I really am sincerely inviting you to journal and consider, why are you here? What is the aspect of your life where is it that you most want to feel free? If you can target and pinpoint, here's where there's most constriction. Now, the thing about this modality is, because we work on the level of being, everything else is impacted. Everything is impacted. So it's not going to just impact that one space, but the clearer you are on, this is why I'm here, the more you're going to get out of it. So to get clear on your intentions and to know that you're here in your own power, agency, free will, desire to be here. And you can leave at any time if it doesn't resonate with you. You can leave at any time. If you'd like to show your enthusiasm for this content, feel welcome to like, share, and subscribe. That's wonderful. If it feels true. So I'm going to give you a preview of what's to come in the following modules. The lessons that are in this foundational module, basically, we talk about the direct and indirect, which is our key diagram of this modality. And then when that diagram is combined, it creates a lesson called embracing paradox. So we go through that diagram as well. Then we speak about witnessing, how we can be fully in the role of witness while inhabiting the body, embodied presence, witnessing called. We talk about parts of ourselves and how they combine to create a personality, and then how we can go beyond that to presence and ultimately to pure awareness. Recognizing that to truly transcend something is to envelop it and include it, right? We leave nothing behind. We envelop it all. I go through the lineage of this modality. What are the things that informed it? And so in that lesson, then we speak about the koshas, which is another diagram to help you understand the various layers of our energy field. The neurological levels of change is another lesson here in this foundational content. Maslow's motivation model, and the 12 tenets of Transcendental Brain Training. So that's what you get to look forward to in this series. So none of these videos have to go in sequence, but they can do kind of build upon each other. So it is better if you watch the playlist in the order that it's presented. They're all standalone pieces. I've just put them in this order because I think it might be the easiest way to layer piece by piece. So I welcome your comments and your feedback, and I will catch you on the next video.